Welcome and greetings, sacred beings, to Sacred HERstory podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Natasia. And today, for our Sacred HERstory guest speaker, we have this incredible woman, Denise Benz, who is a highly sought after business consultant specializing in brand development and management. She also manages speakers, authors, and entertainers looking to use their voice to impact and inspire others. And she is also a speaker and author herself. She has an incredible book that I started. We'll talk about it later and then I'll share it, but it'll be in the description. And she wrote a couple books, and she also been a former CEO of Lisa Nichols Companies. She's been in the self-development industry for 17 years. She's also known as the Fixer. Welcome, Denise, the Fixer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I was like, you know what? Part of me wants to lose that title, The Fixer.
Yeah.
I'm in a new season, but
Yes.
yeah.
Let's start there. Okay,
Okay.
what how did you get the name The Fixer, and what is the shift now that you feel more aligned with?
Hmm. Well, I think running other people's companies, people always call me in because I have like this keen eye to like find the problem, right?
Mm.
And a simple way to like work through it. So they know if they bring me in, even if they can't see what's wrong, I'm going to find something and I'm going to figure out how to fix it. So
Mm.
fast forward, actually, I can't tell you because you didn't finish the
You
book.
can tell me anything. I'm still gonna read this. Okay, there, I showed it. This book, you guys, I just started it and I can't put it down, literally. Like, I was like, you're gonna want to read everything word per word or listen to it. But
You
yeah,
need to go ahead and tell on yourself and tell them that you tried to skip forward and had to go back.
I did. I tried to skip forward because the way how she started this book is just freaking like, what? Wait, I was like, no freaking way. I was triggered and I was like, let me see what happened. And you can't just do that with this book. You really can't.
Yes.
Like, you need to go through it and let the suspense, let the feelings, let the emotions. I mean, it just brings up so much. And I go, okay, I'm just gonna have to sit and read it. I mean, I
Because if
could
you
listen
blink,
to
you'll
it.
miss it. If you blink, you'll be like, wait, wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait. People have told me they're like, I was listening to the audio and I had to go, what did she
What?
just say? Did she just drop that on us and like keep going? So,
Yeah. That exactly. And plus I'm not much of an auditory person, to be honest. So
oh,
I'm more of a kinesthetic visual learner. So I
yeah.
love touching. Like, plus this book feels so good. It's
Yes, it
nice
does. I
to
did that on purpose. It's
Did
all
you really?
satiny.
Yeah, so I like touching it, and so probably that's part of why you don't want to put it down. But yeah, and I like having a pencil, so I'm literally putting notes, and it's really it looks nice on the outside, but already the first couple pages is like, what the fuck? What? Yeah, so
Yes. So
great book. But
I
you,
don't want to give away anything that's in the book, but I will say that you will see in my career that that gift of refinement of finding the problem and solving it, it started early on.
oh
So
yeah,
there's that. And then I started working in the self-development industry, and I started off just actually, I guess the same thing, analyzing businesses, identifying what was missing, bringing in systems, and then ultimately running, a self-development company. But it was my natural gift. So that's, I think that's where the name Fixer sort of came from because bringing Denise, she's gonna fix it.
mm,
And then when I started managing speakers, as a manager, you got to take the bad guy role, right? So like the client wants something, but they can't say they better make it this way. You got to call the manager, and the manager has to come in and fix it and be the bad
mm,
guy and say, "Can you we really appreciate this, but really it's the artist, you know?"
mm.
But people know me for having a very diplomatic way of getting to a solution.
Mm.
That is my nature. It's got to be a win on both sides. So I'm great at conflict resolution. And I guess that's why they call me the fixer. But after a while, I got tired of fixing everybody's stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I even though I just read the first three chapters and there's several chapters in this, I can see, even how you wrote, your experience, how you took the responsibility of certain situations, like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and already thinking about how do I avoid this from happening again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that because one of the things I hope people take away from this book is the behavior of the back of the book, there's some resources, right? And the resources actually show you, based on what you've gone through in your childhood, this is how it can manifest in adulthood, right? And
Mm,
so when I put that in there, I was really looking at myself, and I see that going through trauma early on and having to live on edge all the time and having to put on a smile even though I wasn't smiling on the inside, how that showed up as an adult, hyper vigilant and, almost like a yes person to a certain degree, like in relationships with guys. Like I want to, like, a people pleaser.
mm-hmm.
And so I think that a lot of us are living in our adult life, um, and our behaviors have a direct correlation for the trauma that we experienced as a child. But they don't sit us down and really train us on that to even connect the dots. You just think, well,
Right.
this is just the way I am. I'm just that kind of person, but you got to go back to figure out where does that come from? And so I was always an inquisitive kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always trying to understand what was underneath stuff. And I'm glad that I had that curiosity because it ended up turning me into an adult that was not afraid to ask questions, had a hunger for knowledge, and then took that information to figure out how to become a better version of myself always.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So you said, you're tired of being the fixer. So what era, what season do you feel that you're in now?
Hmm. I am in a self-care, self-love, self-celebrating season. Like I'm in this season of like standing a little taller and celebrate like standing a little taller and celebrating who I am. I have to tell you, because I have managed people for a living and I listen to their stories and I listen as the manager to dissect it and figure out, okay, how do I brand this and package it? How do I edit this? What's missing? What are the takeaways? Like, so that's what I do naturally, right?
Mm,
Well, once I wrote my own book, I had to go back and listen to it like I was a client.
mm,
And so I was listening to the story slowly. When I told the story, and I mean, you see in the first quote, I told it slowly because I felt like the reader deserved to have the answers to their questions that they can't ask me. What were you thinking? How were you feeling? And you
yeah.
see,
Yeah.
did you
And
feel
I
that
was
way?
fully like, yeah, I was fully in it. And thank you for writing it like that because I go, I'm just getting started and want to know the rest because I'm like, what? Like just the beginning, how it starts off. And so, and then it gets nice and cute and fluffy, like, okay, but still, I'm kind of like waiting because you're still really much in the childhood part. And I'm like, hold up, what? There's just a lot of like, okay, mama, mama's great. Your mama sounds great in the beginning. I'm like, I hope she's continues being great. But I go the Full House thing. I was like, oh, what does Buffy do? What? Yeah. So
You're
there's
gonna
a
you're
lot.
gonna want to bring me back after you get to the end of the book. Just I called
Okay.
it. I'm just saying it,
Okay.
and I will come back.
Perfect. You guys hear that? Yes. Okay. There's so thank you. I love this. Denise, you're just incredible. You're just this
Thank you.
breath of fresh air. And I love how you're like, I'm in the self-care, self-love. And, and I'm like, haven't you always been, because
No, no, because okay, think about it. As women, as young girls, I feel like young girls are kind of raised to be caregivers.
mm,
Well, okay, now if you're gonna get a young man, you got to make sure you do that. Like there was all of this like coaching of how we had to be ladies to attract the guy, right? To get a
mm,
good man and a good job and be a good girl and like all of this. And
mhm,
so, gosh, you know what I'm thinking? I don't know that young men have this conversation of, okay, now you need to be a respectable man. If
mhm,
you want to attract a strong, respectable young lady, you need to do this. Like men, it's my experience has been,
mm,
sow your royal oats and like, it's almost like a badge of honor for a guy to have been with a lot of girls, but for us, we're supposed to reserve ourselves and
mhm.
be kind and be nice and be polite and don't bruise his ego. Like there's so much coaching of how we're supposed to do things to affect other people's energy. And I feel like I've spent a lot, well, you'll see in the book, but I've spent a lifetime worrying about other people's feelings and
Mm,
trying to make sure, even in situations where I was victimized, I'm taking responsibility for the fact that you feel uncomfortable about the trauma that happened. It happened to me, but I'm apologizing, right? And I
right.
know I'm not the only person. I think a lot of females have gone through that.
Yeah.
They've been in bad marriages, right? Like
Yeah.
they were the faithful one and the man did all the crazy stuff and we're apologizing. How can I make
Mhm.
this better? How can I fix this? So for me, it started so early on. Like I feel exhausted a little bit from that. And
Yeah.
so now I'm in the season of giving myself permission for all the things, giving myself permission to put my face on the cover of the book. When I tell you, like that is hu huge for me. My first book, I don't have it handy. It's called The Blueprint to Finding Your Authentic Voice, and it had a microphone on it, or it has a microphone. It only had the microphone. That was it, in text. And I sent it out to a bunch of people, and they're like, "Where's your picture?" I'm like, "Oh, maybe I could put it on the back." They're like, "We need to see your face." And I'm like, that's not important, right? And it took a lot for me to finally do it. But I thought when I told this story, I'm like, I got to find the perfect image. And I was twiddling my thumbs, and God was kind of like, only your face was smiling. You don't, you, and you're perplexed about what should be on the cover of the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe picture
What
your
what
face smiling.
yeah, what about Denise? What about Denise here? Because I mean, like I said, I only read the first three chapters and we've talked a few times and I go, there's a lot of depths to you. And I go, I know we're kind of promoting more of this book because it's like you really got to read to hear your story because there's so many lessons and I guess for me was very much I'm not by myself. There's already it was like I I get it. I can see this, and for anyone who's been through any trauma or any unsafe situation, it's
Mhm,
like can probably reflect on their hopefully can reflect on their own, situation and be like, yeah, but you can still come out of it, and how you well who you are now, I just see you as like just this amazing woman and then here you're like, yeah, this is my self-care, self-love, but it makes sense because you're over here managing everyone else and being the diplomat in it in it all. So still it's like you're not addressing your own voice, you're addressing their needs and everyone else's needs, so yeah.
You know how people have their coping mechanisms to get through trauma? Like some people turn to alcohol, some people turn to, lots of sex or whatever the thing is. I was such I was so focused on the power of your mind, like feeling like, okay, I got to control my thoughts, that whenever I felt sad about
Mhm.
maybe things that I didn't have in my life, meaning like family, um, the way that I coped, and I don't even know if this is really cope, but kinda, I thought, what can I do to be a blessing to somebody else? Right? Like I'm sitting here thinking like, nope, what can I do to, because I figured if I focus on someone whose situation is worse than mine, it's impossible for me to stay stuck in my own stuff. So for years, I'll tell you this part, it's in the book, but I'm telling you,
That's
I
okay.
I used
Share,
to,
because we're still gonna want to read the whole book anyways.
yeah, this is a very small part. I used to go to the Union Rescue Mission in Los Angeles on Thanksgiving, Easter, and Christmas. I would look for a homeless shelter where I could volunteer because if I could spend that day being a blessing to somebody else, the fact that I don't have any biological family doesn't even matter because they don't even have a roof over their head, right? So service became my coping mechanism. And I guess if you had to pick something to help you cope, that one's not too bad.
Right.
Like if I
Yeah.
had to pick something. Yeah, so that's why so much of my life has been lived in service because one, it was I do have a heart of service, but the other part of it was if I'm helping someone else, I don't have to think about, the
Your
dysfunction,
own
the trauma
personal
that I
stuff.
went through. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. So do you feel like you've dealt with all the trauma that you've been through? Did you seek help or anything like that?
Um, y yes, I do feel like I have dealt with it. Um, I dealt with it throughout the years, and as you read through the book, you'll hear it and you're like, okay, I get it. I can tell. Um, however, um, I used to think, well, when you're over something, then there isn't any pain. And that's when healing can begin. When you kind of open the door and there nothing hurts, you're like, ah, I'm over it. Now I can begin healing. And now I realize that's not true. Healing does not begin, true healing, until you open the door and breathe life into the trauma, like until you open your mouth and put voice to it. So I
Mhm.
lived my life stifling it, pushing it down.
Mm.
Take a deep breath. Literally, I would like take a deep breath and be like, okay, so we're done with that. And now we're going to work. Like that was this thing that I would do. And it
Mhm.
was me going, yep, not going to bring that up. If I start to cry, push that back down. And I I thought the longer I do that, eventually it will heal. But now I realize when when there's an injury that has been infected,
Mhm.
they don't just say go home and let it run its course. Sometimes they have to open it up and they gotta pour the medicine in and flush out all of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that it can heal properly. And so though on the outside I look totally healed, right?
Yeah.
Right? Ding! Um, there's a portion, there's a part of me that still had not healed because I hadn't opened my mouth. And I addressed that in the book. You're gonna be like, this is the moment right here. This is the one. Got it. I see what happened here. And so that was the beginning. And writing this book is like the final chapter of that because it's one thing to put voice to it with one person, one on one. It's another thing to be like,
Yeah,
I'm
here
gonna write it
world.
all down. I'm gonna say it all in the microphone. I'm gonna hit the button and it's gonna just be out there in the ethers.
How was that for you, writing it and then speaking it out? Because you narrated your own book, right? How was that knowing that this is gonna be people are gonna listen to this and read this?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a secret. You like leaned in.
It
So
won't be a secret anymore.
you know what? You're right. When I first finished the book and the books came, I was like, okay, all right. Well, people order the books on my website, so at any point I could just turn it off, right? If this gets too uncomfortable, I could just be like, no more book sales, you can't get the book. So the book wasn't real to me until I got the notification that it is now on Audible. Girl, my stomach started churning, my heart was racing because all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, Audible, that means I don't know who the customer is. That means I don't have the ability to stop them from listening. Oh my gosh, it's real now. Like it wasn't real until it was on Audible.
Oof.
Even though I had like cases of books, wasn't real till it was on Audible because I still felt like I had control to just be like,
Mhm.
and we're done here.
And when it went on Audible, you had no more control.
One of my closest friends, we were texting back and forth, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't know you were so close with such and such, like in the book, because we all grew up in church together." And I said, "Did you order the book?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'm halfway through." So I go back and I look, and I was like, "I don't, are you, where'd you get it?" And she goes, "Audible." Like that's when it clicked, and I was like, "Oh my God, people can be reading right now, and I don't know who they are."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, So that was just a moment of like a little jarring, right? A little jerk, but I was up for the job. I'm here for the task. I have often said writing this book is the cost of my freedom. I knew there was a cost for God's protection. I knew, God, if you just get me through this in one piece, I'm I'm going to use this story to help other people. I'm going to tell them how you protected me. So the clock is ticking and I'm like, "Okay, girl, um when you going to start talking? You helping all and look how I was getting distracted. I'm going to help this person write their story. I'm going to work with this person over here. I'm going to put I was doing all the things and no one knew. I had my own story.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think probably that what makes people want to buy it more because it's like, oh, wait, what? This is Denise's story. So, how did you regulate yourself? Because you said your stomach was churning and you were feeling all the jitters. So, how did you finally like just make peace with it and just said, you know what, here it is?
Um, I shared it in a very small group of people that I know and respect. And one by one, they called me and were just like, oh my God, oh my God. Like I'm so honored to know you. I can't believe like everyone's been saying the same thing. They're like, does this sound weird to you? But like this is giving me Oprah Book Club. Denise, I want to tell you something, and I'm just gonna put it out there because this is what I'm feeling. I'm like, okay, and I'm thinking like I'm bracing myself for some critique. This is really giving me like Tyler Perry Netflix series. And then on the other side of that are people telling me their stories. Men, women, white, black, calling me and telling me you you have so much courage to tell this story, and I just want you to know. I want you to know I'm not Denise. I'm not at a place that I would ever tell my story out loud,
Mm-hmm.
but you gave me permission. And I just want to tell you, like, I went through the same thing or I went through something similar. And so they're sharing with me. And every time I get a story like that, Jennifer, it's this validation. It's this warm cloth. It's this humbling of like, okay, God, I know this is not about me. This is not about me. So
Well, it's about you and everyone, you
yeah.
know,
Someone
your
said, thank you
story.
for telling our story. This
Yeah.
one lady, she said it to me like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, why does she keep saying our story? And then right after that, everyone else's story started to pour in. I'm like, oh, this is why. So,
And I just got chills. I'm like all the way up into my head. I'm like, yes.
mm,
Yeah. This
yeah.
is it is. Like I said, I only read the first few chapters and I had to put it down because it was a lot because, you know, you share part of my story too, you know. And this is not about me, but this is your story, but it is our story. And this is what Sacred Her Story is about. It's honoring our story and to realize that we're not alone, you
Yeah.
know? And it is so brave for you to share because I think with a lot of people, with why they don't share their stories is because probably there's still people who are living that it's gonna hurt them.
Okay, I'm about to tell you something that nobody knows.
Mm,
On my honeymoon, my husband said, you help all these people like tell their stories, babe. You have your own story. Like, I really think that you should be speaking and like you should write a book or something. And I said, yeah, I know. At some point, I'm going to do that. So I get in the shower and I'm like taking the shower and I'm like visualizing myself telling this story from the stage. And I could see my mom in the back of the room, right in this vision. And I thought, I get out of the shower. I said, babe, you know what? I think the time to tell the story is when both of my biological parents are no longer here. I think that that's what makes the most sense. I hear you and I appreciate it, but yeah. Um, the next day my mom was dead. The next day.
unexpectedly.
My biological mother and biological father died like 17 days apart.
Mm,
Different states, different circumstances. And it secretly felt like now what's your excuse? You know,
yeah.
like
Ooh, yes.
now what's your excuse? And I've been, that was like 10 years ago, 10, 11
Mm,
years ago. So even that was not enough for me to like move forward.
mm.
This has not been an easy process because I felt like it's like letting a genie out of the bottle. It's like once it's out there on Audible, can't pull it back. And yeah. So yeah.
And here it is. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And I haven't read the book, but it's hopefully you'll still answer. How
Okay.
was it for you with building relationships? Because you mentioned your husband, and is it okay to ask like how long have you guys been married? And was that something, you know, was yeah, let's start there. Because it sounds like you guys have a beautiful relationship and he's encouraging, and I'm just like getting nosy because I go, okay, you've been through what I just read, a lot of stuff, especially with men, right? And then your husband who just encourages you should write a book. You've been through so much, so can
Yeah,
we dig into the relationship stuff? Like,
absolutely. So we are no longer married. I'm so sorry to tell you. We are no longer married. You're like, dang.
what a happy ending. Are
Yeah,
you remarried?
I am single.
All
I
right, fellas, if you're listening to this, Miss Denise is single.
I'm single. What was the question? How did the
Yeah. Is
Oh, we
and
were
is this in the
alarmed.
book?
No, it's not in the book. That's why I was
Okay.
like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
we
Great.
were married almost 2 years, almost 2 years, and we were divorced. We were friends 20 years prior.
Oh wow.
So I felt like I did all the things, right? Like it wasn't a rush decision. This is someone that I know his character. We have a long friendship, so I thought this makes sense. This is a good fit, and we loved each other. Um, but there were some challenges there that he needed to work through, and
It just didn't work out.
yeah. So okay, I shared this in an interview. Someone asked me a similar question. It just came back to me. When I was younger, and this is in the book, um, my mother's husband asked me, based on the things that have happened between us, meaning he and I, do you think you're going to have a problem like dating uh men later on?
And you
Okay.
had the nerves to ask them.
So that told me that you understood the psychological trauma that you're putting me through. He asked me this at, I think it was like 12. And so I said, no, just like, no. And it kind of surprised him because I said it so matter of factly. And he goes, oh, okay, well, okay, why not? And I said, well, because if you judge a whole group of people based on an experience you have with one person, that's being prejudice. And I'm not going to be that.
Wow.
Like, that was
Wow.
my little
Just
12-year-old
where your
brain.
mind is going and how
Yeah.
you think of the wow. Okay.
So early on, and I was one of those kids that just like I had wisdom beyond my lived years. So super analytical, almost thought like an adult to a certain degree. And I felt like, okay, this craziness is happening over here. This is not how life is supposed to be. So I
Mhm.
got to make sure that, like I knew I was on a mission to get through it and get to the other side. So I made a point somehow to understand based on this trauma, and I didn't even have the ACEs test to know all the things, right? Based on this trauma, this is likely that how this shows up when you get older. Oh, so I got to look out for this. Oh, I got to make sure I do this. Like I was constantly working on self, even at a young age,
Yeah.
so that I didn't turn into what people expected based on what I went through. And I was very, you will see, I was very, very fixated on how do I heal from this? Girl, I was trying to heal while I was in it. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, well, what can I do to work on this? Because this part of this is bad. I need some tools
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
kid.
As a kid. And like as you're saying it, it's like, yeah, your mind is very analytical and just kind of able to see the separation. Like, oh, not everyone's like you. And this isn't normal. This isn't right? So how was that? Like, did you date when you were, an adult? Because you said you were friends with this guy for 20 years. Then you're like, okay, yeah, let's get married. And then after 2 years, all right, thank you, next.
I did. I did date, and I always say that if you line all the men up that I've dated, you can't see it. You can't see that. Like, wait, huh? Like my ex-husband was Hawaiian and Mexican, former Marine. Culturally was always around Black people, so we shared a very similar culture, same food, same. He just was brown.
I tell them they got black in them too. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, the common denominator is all of them had a heart of service. All the guys that I dated, like they really like to just be present for people. And I think in the back of my brain, I was looking for someone that had those type of traits. I was
Mhm.
making sure that, and I didn't have the vocabulary or the knowledge to understand the definition of a narcissist, but I was cognizant that I want to make sure that when I date somebody, these things that I saw as a kid like don't show up.
Yeah.
Anything that looked remotely close, I was like, that's not the one for me. That full of yourself, you know, nice in front of people, but then like, an ass behind closed doors, like all of those
Right.
things that I saw, I was on like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
So I was very, very particular about the people that I dated.
Wow. And you only got married once?
I only got married once. I don't have any children. Um, I'm an auntie mommy, is what I say. And all my friends text me on Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day. And they go, you know what? I had to sing you Happy Mother's Day because even though you don't have biological kids, God knew that He needed you to be mommy to all these other
Everyone.
kids.
Yeah.
And so I kind of laugh about it. But yeah, and the only reason why I don't have kids is because I always thought I took parenting very seriously. Like very seriously. I never had anything ticketing me like, oh, I want to have a bit. No. I want to bring a child into the world with two parents so that there's a fighting chance because life is difficult enough. And so because I didn't get married until so much later, that's why I didn't have a kid. Because I'm like, well, why do I need to think about a baby when I don't have a husband? You know?
Yeah.
And so at some point I used to say, I don't have any children and I've never been pregnant. Like I had to, because people go, you don't have any kids. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have any kids. Okay. One of my friends, he goes, D, mind you, he probably has like six kids. Kids that don't even know that he's like, D, how is it that you never got pregnant? Like, how is that possible? All of us ended up with kids. And I was like, well, I mean, there's things you can do to make sure you
Prevent it.
like I feel like I breathe on people and they would get pregnant. I'm like, well, that's you. But yeah, so I love kids, I love family. But that's the skinny. I have a niece that is third. Actually, today is her birthday. Yes, today is her birthday. And she has a daughter and a son, and she named her daughter after me. Yeah. To me, that's just like the biggest compliment because
Yeah.
her mother was living when she had her daughter, and she still named her after me. Ironically, our mothers died on the same exact day. My mom died the day I came back from my honeymoon, and her mom died the same day. She emailed me in the Dominican Republic and said, Auntie, my mom died. And I was just shutting down my laptop and I said, Oh my God, sweetheart, I flew out of LA. When I land, I'm going to come straight to your house. And when I got for my connecting flight and powered my phone back on, I had the message that my mom died.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. A lot of emotions, a lot of grief, a lot of, like processing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And they weren't even related. I'm actually related to her through her father. So it's just even crazier, that both of our moms would die, but we were already super close and it just bonded us. Yeah. So,
How amazing how things work that way. There's
yeah.
no accidents. That's like no accidents at all, but it's, unfortunate as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am single and I feel like I don't know.
Well,
God
what
would
does
have to bring him.
yeah, well, what does life look like moving? You wrote two books now,
Mhm.
and you said you were what was shared was you were in the self-development industry. Did you always see yourself in the self-development industry?
No, and you are going to laugh when you find out how I got in the self-development industry in your book that you have. Yes, I do tell that.
Okay,
I
she
got it in a very unorthodox way.
okay.
But yeah,
They
everything that I have done in my career has
yeah,
come from a heart of service.
right.
Like everything I was doing, I just saw, okay, these people need help with this. Let me just help them out. Right. And then they're like, can you come and work with us? No, 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 no. And like every single thing is people think, so well, someone said to me once, you work with a lot of celebrities, so I guess you do a lot of marketing to try to attract people like that. Is that how you got all those clients that are celebrities? And I was like, no, I don't choose my clients based on what they do for a living. I choose them based on who they are as a person. Period. Period. And
Period.
when you peel back the layers, every person, there's this weird serendipitous moment that connected us. And they're like, okay, so I have to work with you just because they watched me helping someone else. So, yeah.
All right, y'all. See, Denise, she wants us to read her book. So this is the book. Only My Face is Smiling.
Faith carried me, secrecy almost broke me.
It's a lot. And we're gonna have you back on, Denise, because I'm already I get it now. I finally got it. Miss Denise is not gonna tell us more information because we gotta read the book. Then I could ask her all the questions I want so we can have that discussion. So in the
Yes.
description, y'all, get this book. We can all read it together. If you have any questions, just put it in the comments here and we'll go through it so we can
Yeah,
answer
yes. We'll do
questions.
a whole meet the author Q&A section.
Yeah, a whole meet the author Q&A because I have lots of questions already. But I feel like I need to read the whole book before I can ask all those questions.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
regardless of the book, what
Yes.
does life look like moving forward? Because here you have all this experience and you got your speaking, you're a speaker as well, you're an author, you're a coach. So, what does that look like, 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Oh my gosh.
Or maybe just 1 year from now. I don't know. It's like 10 years is like, you know, 10 years. Can we just kind of back up? Because I'm in my self-care aura era, you know.
I really am settling into that. Like I went to the spa last week and I feel like it was like a Thursday or something. It was the middle of the week. And I looked at my niece and I was like, I remember I used to think you can only do this on the weekend. And she was like, Auntie, absolutely not. She was like, we are in our self-care era. And she was like, we worked hard for so many years for so many people so that we can have moments like this. And so I'm usually the person creating these moments for other people. And so I'm now resting in that. What does my life look like a year, 5 years from now? Um, I hope that I am in the space where I'm just creating more room for this conversation around healing. I'm helping people find their voice that have been silenced by whether it was childhood trauma. Some of us have church hurt, right? Trauma through that. But what I have found for myself is that there's so much power when you give voice to trauma and you don't stuff it down. And so I love to still be in this space where I'm just creating more of this. I used to have this phrase that I've said for years, which is, I'm just a ripple in God's pond. And I'm like, when I get to heaven, he's like, okay, come on, come on. I know you. Here you go. Here's all your ripples. That's what you've been waiting on, all your ripples, right? So I have this thing that like I'm going to just put good out in the world. And I recognize that I may never see the impact that it's having on other people. I may never meet them, and that's okay with me. Um, yeah, it's absolutely okay. So I want to continue to do that. That's it. However, I can be a light, be a blessing, help people find their freedom, which is what I think what I've done with my speakers, help them put voice to things they've gone through. Yeah,
I love that. That's beautiful.
thank
So
you.
I feel like this is coming to a close because we're having a part two. But before we go, what is something, I mean, you shared a lot in your book and you've been through so many things, but what is that one thing you wish you could tell your younger self?
Hmm. That I could tell my younger self. Don't worry, you're not gonna break.
Mm,
Don't worry. The end is you win. The end is you win. Yeah, yeah.
it's beautiful. Any last words for those who are listening, other than you guys better get the book? So I'll say that for you.
Yeah. Onlymyfacelesssmiling.com. That you can go there and get
What's
it.
that one? Okay,
Yeah.
it'll be in the description though. So yeah,
Okay. I
definitely.
guess a last word I would say is no matter what you've gone through, no matter what happened, the past does not have to dictate your future.
Mm,
That's what I want people to know. It doesn't define you. And I'm a walking, living, breathing unicorn of a testimony of that.
mm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Denise, for being here. Thank you for shining your light and sharing your sacred, her story.
Mm.
So all of you guys, let's read this together. I'm only on chapter 3. So you can get it on Audible and start listening and beat me. Um, I may have to get it on Audible too because that link is not working for me.
No, no, when we get off here, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help
Okay,
you.
thank
And
you.
as a gift, I extended this to another friend of mine. As a gift, anyone in your community that goes to onlymyfacelesssmiling.com and they get the book, the physical book,
The physical
I
book.
will, I will personally I will gift you the audio version.
There you guys go. Let's read this together.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have this done by the end of the week. I'm still working, but um I try to read it a little bit while I was at work and I'm over here making noise.
Oh, what?
It's like, yeah,
Oh,
what? And but I look forward to our next conversation because you're just this incredible light and just your presence is just grace and beauty, Denise.
I
And I'm
received
so
that.
glad you shared your story. Then we can dive in next time and you won't have to be hush hush because she wants to build the suspense, y'all.
But I am open to answer questions, so it would be really cool
Yeah,
for people to like have their questions and maybe we do a live Q&A. Like I'd be totally open to that. I did it with a small circle of friends and they were like, "Oh my goodness."
yeah.
So, yeah,
I'm
be
gonna have to
fun.
figure this out. Like I go, because we're probably gonna need to give people time to read it. So my plan is to have you by the end of July again. So for those listening, okay, that means I'm gonna put your story out the first of July. So it's June 23rd. Here I am talking about this. Okay, you guys are gonna get all this conversation. Like I said, it's a conversation, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. That my thing is I don't need to be perfect. It's a conversation. This is real conversations, right? Online. And I'm over here thinking out loud. So excuse me. So as we close, Miss Denise,
Yes.
is there any last words you want to share with those who are listening?
Um, Speak your truth. Speak your truth,
Mhm.
whatever that is for you. Emancipate yourself and speak your truth. That's what I did.
Mm, thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. And for all of you that are listening, thank you for being here. And may Denise's story remind you that you're not walking this path alone. Your story also matters.
Mhm.
So until next time, thank you for joining. For she is sacred, her sacred, highly exalted rebel. It is saying yes to ourselves and trusting our own inner wisdom. Thank you for being here.